Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday's Talking Town, the Matchday preview show for a game that's on Friday this week, not a Saturday. So if you're thinking about rocking up to Portland Road on Saturday, don't. Come Friday, because that's when the game is. It was called Wycombe at home. Another important weekend, 8 cup finals, all the old cliches. They're all going to be coming out. But yeah, looking forward to previewing that tonight. Obviously, we've got the fan forum that's just happened. Whether you were there or it was live on YouTube, we'll cover a little bit of that. Although that's very much par for the course. What you would expect coming out of a fan forum in April, where Town have just won 7 games on the bounce. And we'll do a number of other things. Of course, as always, we welcome your participation. We can't ever do these shows without you. It's the fan platform for fans, by fans of the greatest football team on God's green earth. So please do leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, get active in the live chat. And yeah, let's have a really good conversation about our football club this evening. I'm going to ask, actually, tonight, Town TV, coming next year, app development, etc. What's one piece of content you'd like to see on Town TV? If you could be the master of Town TV and create whatever you wanted to create with any legend that you wanted to create or any town figure that you wanted to create it with, whatever it might be. It could be anything. It could be the pre-assist 20 minutes with Shawnee Aluko. Do you know what I mean? It could be anything you want, where we just go through a collection of pre-assists from around the world and detail them in great detail. But whatever it might be, whatever you want it to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments. I'll get a couple of them on the screen. We've got some comments coming through already, which is absolutely fantastic. Colin's saying, mind the gap. Jody's saying, Timu Puki living not at the end of the season. He certainly is. They've announced that on their Twitter. Phil says 6 points for us this Easter. I feel anyone else. Zurak says, I love a comment on someone else on Twitter. Ashley can say, well, ice cream to an Eskimo. He's so good at persuasion and deflection. It's a great comment, that, Zurak. It's a great comment. I'm glad you've asked it. But yes, there we go. Another Town TV content. Let's get in the dressing room. Let's get a camera in the dressing room for the old big screen before the game. That would be that would be something. How would we have sound on? Just something that you could watch and see him preparing. Norman in with the killer segment, the Drilling Hour on Town TV. Well, just for you, Gov. But I'd want to present that if I could, Norman, please. If I can just jump into your Town TV fantasy book in there, can I be the host of that show, because that sounds like a Nick Miller says Town TV ex-player interviews. I think that will probably happen, to be honest with you, Nick. That's a fairly safe fantasy Town TV content. Whether playing it safe is absolutely fine, as always. Right now, I was live on Monday, had a fantastic show. Over 1,000 have watched that already. I was live with Mr. George Nunn, and it had been a while since I was live with George. Well, tonight it's been probably a very similar amount of time since I was live with this gentleman. So much so that before we went live, he says, Christ, loads has happened since the last time we were live together. And it certainly has. Town has certainly got better. That's the Milktray Man Ben Adams.
You know when you're going to go break up from a girlfriend, right?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
You're right. Loads has happened. So I suppose the first question is, how are you feeling about your football club? Sitting here now compared to the last time you were sat here looking at me.
Really ecstatic. It's everything I asked for. One of the last comments I made on here was, we want something with a bit of metal on, and I think we are a team now with a bit of backbone and a bit of metal. We've bought beautifully. Some players have come in and slotted in absolutely beautifully. January has made our team stronger. We are the form team of European football by statistics, certainly the best in this country. It's almost un-Ipswich-like, and I kind of like it.
Almost un-Ipswich-like? In what regards? In what regards is it almost un-Ipswich-like, my friend?
Well, we usually fall away. I mean, we are the club of false dawns, aren't we? And whenever we get on some kind of run, we always want that one more 3 points, that one more win, that connect those 2 games together, give us momentum, and we always fall short. But this time, we're not. It's really strange. It's so wonderful. It's like a dream I don't want to wake up from. I don't think we're going to go through the rest of the season unbeaten. I'd love to. I think we're capable of it, but we have found something that we have been lacking for probably 16 years in this last sort of 8, 9, 10 games, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying it.
Thorns. I like that. Good evening, George. Hope you're well. Only kind of like it, says Josh. Should be loving it, says Mr. Josh Russell. Ashley, we either mess it up or results don't go our way. This season's both are happening. The beams and the ceiling, says Ian, are almost running in line with the away shirt stripes.
Yeah, they are actually. Look at them. Yeah,
that's a great shout, Ian. I've never noticed. That's a great little shout. Now, it was a fan forum this evening. A couple of things came out of it. As I say, yeah, more or less par for the course. But a question that often gets asked is about my stand, the most famous stand in English football. But it is old. It is decrepit. It probably barely passes the safety certificate every single year when it's there's got to go through. When asked, Ashton said no time scale. They could build over the road. They could tunnel under it. I'm not sure what that would look like, but they could build over the road for sure. I mean, it is a closed road, so you would have thought having permission would be fairly even. And also something that we wouldn't rule out was a one-tier stand. There's no time frame. I dare say that.
I like one-tier stands. I was looking at Derby on the weekend, and they've got their kind of one-tier stand that slopes all the way up. I just like that feeling of encapsulation, and I do think that having you think of stands, 2/3 of it are above, and you have the section below. I do think it's a bit of an atmosphere killer. And those kind of boxes down the middle, I just think they're a bit old school. No one else really has them like that. So something about the encapsulation of a ground. I've always thought even the corners, where the shop is and the other side of the north stand, if you could kind of almost blend them round, kind of like that kind of old Wembley feel. It all kind of just circle round each other. I don't think you'd have to spend 75 million trying to do that, but it does need a bit of restructuring. It's purely, we love it for the nostalgia reasons. I never like it when things get updated because it changed what you grew up with, but it needs a bit of a upgrade. You can't fire rocket fuel under every aspect of a club and then have a stand that's been the same since the 1960s. It's got to come up with.
It's very true. Yeah, very true. Absolutely. And I thoroughly look forward to sitting in the brand sparkling new, spanking new stand that's got all the amenities in the world. But I don't know if I can see it being one tier, Ben, because
I don't think it will, because it will require knocking the thing down and restarting. And I think
they will do. But then if you think about things when you build them, normally you build to get bigger. Not smaller.
Do you think though that would depend on what we do as a club in the league? Don't get me. If we get promoted, we spend 3 seasons in the Championship, and all of a sudden we got 150 million pounds in our pocket in the Premier League. That's the time when you do it, and we did do it last time. Usually when it happens, it goes wrong for people. So when we knocked down our stand and we kind of rebuilt, it all went tits up in the second Premier League season. Colchester United, when they took their shed of a stadium and turned it into a nice modern stadium, that all collapsed. So I'm caught between, you need to modernise, but there's some things you don't fuck with. It's like opening a king, Tutankhamun's tomb and unleashing a curse. Some things maybe are just left as they are. So I don't know.
I think when I come along, I did some research. The largest singles tier stand ever made was 12,000. I think it's more out of a new stand with all the money involved of building a new stand. I think they'd want, like the cobblestone at the moment, for example, you can get 3,000 away fans in it. Well,
you can, but I mean, what I cannot, because I sit sort of perpendicular.
How would a one-tier stand sort of look along the whole stretch? Because normally they're behind the goal, one-tier stands, from my experience. How would it look?
So think Man U, think Newcastle. Yeah.
How would that look from a?
In that away end though, even though where the away supporters sit, the gap between them and our supporters, there's probably 400 seats there, and then you have the bottom half of the away supporters, and apart from the odd game or two, it's always empty. That's probably another 200 seats. That's a lot of money per game. So you've got this one corner of a stand that is always going to have big sections empty. And it's not exactly Rangers Celtic every game, for Christ's sake. This is Ipswich Town and people like Cheltenham. They're not going to be throwing smoke grenades at each other. You look at the away stands. Look at the Derby game. Ipswich fans was separated by a line of security, and it worked perfectly well. It adds to the atmosphere. You're a bit closer. It's a bit more banter. It's just this horrible empty hole with this massive gap in the middle. It's ripe for doing something with it, because atmospheres are it's very much in the zeitgeist at the moment. So how do we improve the atmosphere? And I think that's one of the ways we do it.
But it's often a question that comes up at these fan forums when they're going to develop the cobbled. But I think Phil's got sort of nailed it on the money there. I think when he's been in the Premier League for any more expansion, I think he's right. Not just in the Premier League, probably established in the Premier League.
I agree. You don't go and spend, and it will be an unbelievable amount of money, and it means we're going to spend a season without a football stand, which is not great for, that means there's going to be 9,000 people who are not going to get to watch Ipswich in the top flight potentially, depending how long it takes. So it's got to be a very carefully considered option.
Absolutely, it certainly has. And if it ever happens at all, you've got to get there first for it to happen.
Sure.
Mike, who remembers the boxes in cobble stand being new? The old West Stand didn't have boxes either. Something else that came out, season tickets. Last year, Ashton said he wanted 18,000, and he feels like he almost got laughed out of the room when he said it. This year, he's put a cap, he says, on 21,000.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to easily obtain that 21,000 number?
Yes, I do. Look at the walk-in supporters, if that's any measurement of metric of success. Look at the walk-in supporters that fill the ground every week. There's probably another. How many season tickets were sold this year for this season? Around.
I think I want to say 18,000, but I guess the numbers I've got in my head, but I don't actually know the full correct figure.
Yeah, so you've got 10,000 regular walk-ins at most Ipswich games, between 8 and 10,000. You think you're going to get another 3,000 of them to convert to season tickets? I argue you could. I mean, Christ, well, why wouldn't you? I think the excitement is there. I think the momentum's there, and people have clearly bought into it, and they're spending money to do it. And people are spending money in this. It's absolute clusterfuck of an economy and the way the world is at the moment. People are still coming. So it's not as if they're spending easy money. They're having to make a really tough decision to come and watch Ipswich play, because it's not a cheap day. So why are they, they're actually deciding it's worth the sacrifice to go. And all you've got to do is convert 25% of that into season tickets, and you've hit your mark.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for example, Kev Hansen says Ipswich are a different animal now from previous seasons. There are no need to doubt what's going on off the pitch. It's all about unity up the Blues. Obviously, Burnley could secure promotion this weekend. Good luck, Burnley FC forever. Who's in the chat? One of our resident Burnley fan. All the best there. Absolutely. Nothing came back. Was possible being back on the last day of the year. Obviously, we're away at Fleetwood. They're allowed 2 beanbacks in a year.
A beanback. Sorry, I'm out of the lexicon.
Where they beam the game back to a big screen, and
they
did it for the Cambridge game. Would that interest you if it was going into the last day of the year and Town were on the edge of securing or needing to win? Would that?
It would if it was, and I think it will go down to the last game of the season. Barnsley's going to be pretty decisive, but in my gut, it will be that last game of the season. And if it's down to that, then I probably would. Yeah, I think you'd fill up an entire stand, depending if they back-to-back the screens. But yeah, imagine that. That'd be a hell of a. I don't think there'll be a pitch invasion. There'd be people electrocuting themselves. So yeah, I would definitely go. God, imagine that. I don't want to celebrate promotion in my living room with no one around me. I want it with friends. I want it with some noise. That's how I want to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Around your fellow Town fans.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, or maybe if it comes down to it, we would have to do something like rent out a pub with a screen or something and just invite people. I mean, things like this, So we'll see. It will come down to the last game of the season, as far as my kind of maths takes it. But do you know what? Who knows? Because Sheffield Wednesday have completely and utterly imploded. They're doing a derby. And Plymouth are consistent, but not as consistent as they have been. So anything could happen. Who knows?
Oh, absolutely. And I asked at the start of the show about a Talking Town, not Talking Town, rather, that's my show. A Town TV content idea. Like, would you like Luco to show you the best pre-assists from around the world and go into detail? What would you want to see on Town TV next year?
I would love to do a morning in the life of an Ipswich Town player on game day. And they sort of touched on it with Connor Chaplin. So he gets up, but what he has for breakfast, Does he walk his dog? He gets ready, he puts his keys down, he gets in his car. What music does he listen to? A video of him pulling into the stadium, going through his warm-up routines, his diet. It's almost like a kind of a game day in the life of a player. I'd love to see something like that, because we all wonder. I always wonder what they talk about when they go under the tunnel, what they chat about going back to the car, what music they listen to on the way back, to their houses. I've always really wondered about that side of football. Was you get to see the interviews, and they're all highly scripted and very highly managed. There's no I in team, and we're all just focus on the next game. You can predict it from any league and any team. They're going to follow a script, but I want to see what table do they sit at in their home? What film do they watch? What news do they read? That real, like, this is who this player is. This is what led them to walking past the white line of this pitch. I'll be fascinated.
I like that. That's a really good idea. Really good idea. I quite like. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that, and I'm not normally one for consuming.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, but
media.
It was fascinating when they done that thing with Connor Chaplin. It was they stuck the cameras inside of his house for a few shots. I thought, how fascinating, because you saw what he had for dinner on the table, and his boots were all kind of lined up, and what his little ritual is as he leaves the house. So I think things like that are really, really interesting. So that would be mine.
I agree with you. You mentioned, obviously, contract in there. One of our players, a player in the news this week was Janoi Donacien. Contract extension.
That's a great shout for me. And you can, I think now that it's come in, Clark. I mean, for me, one of the pieces of the puzzle that's made all this happen, along with Luongo. But Donacien is consistent. He's good when he comes on in place of Clark, Clark I think is absolutely fantastic. Part of the meta I was looking for. It doesn't drop. And usually when you replace a slightly lesser player with a top quality player, you notice that difference. I don't really notice it when Janoi comes on. And he's actually quite a quick runner, and he likes to get forward. And last season, him and Burns formed a fantastic partnership. So you're swapping one building partnership for an established partnership. I love the fact he's with us. I don't think he's going to play, probably more than 15 starts and a load of sub appearances. But again, what a great person to call on. I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy. He's a nice bloke. He's very Ipswich. That's correct. There's lots of pictures with people around town. From all accounts, he's really kind, and he works hard. So, and look, he's one. He goes back a long time here. He survived bomb squads and cullings and everything, and he is through sheer determination. He has built himself a career here. When we have loads of money to get rid of him and replace him, but he's still here doing it, and that really speaks to, I think, the character of him. So I like him. Yeah,
I think you're actually right. Nice guy, good character. He's revitalised his town career at a time when at several times it looked like he's on the way out of the football club.
He was on the ropes. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, and he's done such a wonderful job to bring himself back and revitalise that town career. I'm going to be controversial, though. I'm going to say this is an extension to protect the value, and I think he'll be gone in the summer. I'm going to be really honest. I can look that up in just a second. I do feel, particularly if we're in the Championship, if we're still in League One, maybe. But I think if you go into the Championship, I think you always look to improve. You always look to take a step forward. And Harry Clark is a £1 million plus defender.
I totally agree with you. But
games.
That's part of the thing. We're not in the Championship yet,
No, but I think if you're looking at your wider scale, and I love JD the man. I think it's a value protection, and it's
But even so,
Jordan was given a contract extension. So was Jackson. And at the time we all thought they'd be released quietly, and
I wish he was an asset protection thing, but he still keeps hanging around like a wet fart, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I
think he's been here longer than JD. I know. I think he's been here longer than JD actually. But again, I would actually share the same things with Jackson. I think he's got a great character. He's a very good professional, and he's had to work obviously hard and impress the right people to stay here. So I suppose if I can say it to Janoi, then I can certainly say it to Caden.
Janoi is 29. He is 30, according to Wikipedia, on November the 3rd. I actually think Kane Jackson can play in the Championship. That's the different. That's the real thing for me. I think he's got pace, and if you haven't got pace as a defender, you can't mitigate it. You can't defend against it. You're scared by it. And as that wide forward, I really think he's going to be an intriguing. And he's had Huddersfield a couple in recent years after him, who obviously were in the Championship or still are in the Championship. I think he could play. I look at JD and I think, how does McKenna want his fullbacks to play? For me, it's Harry Clark, it's Leif Davis type, where you may be 6 out of 10 defending,
but they're
but
flying
you're
in that.
7 or 8 out of 10 going forward. And I think the Championship, you're going to want that more forward-thinking defender, aren't you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, and JD is slightly more defensive than Clark, to be fair, but they offer different things for different styles of game. And I do,
Correct.
a lot of the Burnley feedback from the fans was, if you come up to the Championship, you're going to smash half this league. And I don't doubt it at all. It's just getting this monkey off of our bloody backs for this League One football, So I disagree with you about Caden being in the Championship.
I think you're good.
It's just we like for different things. He's certainly better on the right-hand side than a striker. There's no question there. But if you're going to have a bombing forward right-handed, on that position, you've got to have an end product, and he doesn't. And people are criticising Burns for bombing down the right, all the pace, taking on defenders, but he couldn't cross. He didn't have the last thing. He got a little bit of criticism for that. So it must kind of work both ways for me. But again, this is why I'm a therapist and not a football manager.
Yeah, one of the many reasons. I joke. I think we'll look for a young, hungry right winger, James Burns. If we go up, Ian said we need a squad. Maybe. What a player to have in the squad. JD can come in and do a proper job. Look at Burns last year, better season than this, thanks to JD. Ashley, I really don't want to come down to the last game and get promoted to Exeter, which we'll come to in just a second. Actually, Josh, I agree, Gov. JD is not a Championship player for himself. All right. You mentioned, obviously, Exeter there. We've got Phil Blundell in the chat saying many Town fans believe that we'll go unbeaten the rest of this term. Well, we've got Fleetwood in May, so all but one. So 7 come in April, Ben. 21 points are up for grabs. Wow. All right. We've already kicked off April with a win against Derby. You've got Wycombe at home, Cheltenham away. That's Easter weekend. Charlton at home, Port Vale at home, Posh away, Barnsley away, and then obviously Exeter at home. 21 points. We'll go through one by one, right? We'll leave Wycombe till last. We're doing that as
I'm making that 17 in my brain, but we'll go through them. Yeah, okay.
Cheltenham away on Easter Monday. Do you think what's your points return from that? Do you think going to be
over the Easter weekend? We're certainly capable of getting 6 points. 100%. I think the momentum is everything in football, and it's just with us. People are scared of us now, and it's a wonderful position to be in. This Easter weekend, I'm predicting 6 points just because we are in the middle of a high. Overall, Charlton's a tricky game.
Charlton at home.
Yeah, they're a funny squad they are this year, and they're a battling squad. They press high, they get close to players. They're going to try and block us playing, but then teams have done that and failed. So that's a
Charlton unbeaten in the last 5. Obviously they'll play 2 games before that, but currently as things stand, unbeaten in the last 5. Drew of Wycombe, beat Shrewsbury last weekend 6-0, beat Cambridge 2-1. So just I'm not trying to sway you here, but I'm trying to give you some meat on that bone.
I think for me, we're going to maybe slip up. I think 17 points. I think I've just got this horrible feeling that the one game that we're going to want to win is the one game which is Barnsley. That's a real Derby was a test to see where we were. I agree because they're high quality, but I don't know. So it's a baby coming in there.
Is that your slip up, Barnsley?
That's my slip up. Yeah,
my cushion.
Okay. Yes, Barnsley is my slip up. I just have this horrible, and they're the team I want to win against the most. And I'm going to stick a draw in there as well. But Barnsley, for me, that game's going to show us exactly whether we deserve to be promoted or not. If we win that, we are up. If we don't win it, lap of the gods. It's the biggest game in 20 years for me.
Yeah, I'm actually with you. I've got 3, 6, 9, 12.
17 points for me.
I've got 17 points. I've got us beating Cheltenham, beating Charlton, beating Port Vale.
Yeah,
a point away at Posh, a point away at Barnsley, and 3 at Exeter.
Okay. Yeah. So we're kind of in the same ballpark, really. And I don't know if it will be enough. A lot of it depends on Sheffield Wednesday. Plymouth is by the by, but Sheffield Wednesday are. Did you see the form table that was posted this morning? And they're like in the bottom sort of 5.
Yes,
terrible.
I've got that coming up. Yeah.
I really hope that continues because they lost their best player. Was it Bannon? I think it was. Was it Bannon?
There was George Byers and
Byers.
Windass to injury.
Windass, but yeah, Byers not better. That's really killed them. That's really affected them badly, and they are on a. I think the algorithm of Twitter. I was looking at a couple of the boards on there. Their fans are in absolute meltdown. They are worried big time.
Yeah,
and they were 2 games in hand on us with 7 points on us at one point, and now we are. What is it?
Well, this is the form table that you're referring
Yeah,
to there. Town and Barnes is leading the way.
Right.
Let me take the comment off the screen there. You've got Accrington, Stanley, Morecambe, Oxford, Derby on the side of the bottom. 4 of the form guide. This is Wednesday, 15th. You know, that's a big reason why.
Yeah. But when Fleetwood, Milton Keynes Dons are doing better than the people that are meant to be going up as champions, you're worrying. So they're doing what we usually do, which is start high, not bad in the middle. Every one of their fans is just assuming we're the best team in the world, and then they're completely capitulating. Isn't it nice to see it from another team and not us? Isn't it nice?
Yeah. It's delicious. And I thought Wednesday would do this. Just interesting to see if we get a setback, how we respond to it.
Yeah.
You got obviously Colin in the chat who's on 21 points because Colin would think we're going to win every single game from now and the end of the time. Of course he does. Respect that about him. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Zurak says I've got 18. Lose to Barnes, win at Posh.
Yeah, okay. I'll see that.
It's fine. 19 points for Josh, which would be a great return. 17 points for James Sargent, 17 for Stephen Bills.
19 would be enough to get us promoted. 17. It's a coin flip.
You're dicing it still on the last day of the year, aren't you? Yeah, I agree. Phil, just goes to show how very quick things can turn badly for any team. We got the squad size and the strength to cope with the run. Yeah, and you got to hope we've been through our blip already, Ben. We've got to hope that
that was our blip. Has it. Yeah. And I criticised the team when we were in a blip, and rightly so, because for a while there around Christmas we were shit. And we couldn't score. We were conceding goals all the time. Getting out this league, it's conceding. We were conceding goals left, right, and centre from every position, from set pieces to open play to mistakes to penalty. We have just stopped conceding goals and we shut up the league. There's a reason why you start with your defence. The defence for me, people like Wolfenden. And correctly that Luongo and Chaplin and Burns and Clark, they're all going to get the accolades. But people like Wolfenden, this guy has quietly gone about his business all season, and I think for most of it has been fantastic. And he very rarely wins a Man of the Match award, but in the last 8 games, I watch him quite closely. That guy is fucking fantastic, and he has got captain written all over him. I don't think he will be. It'll be Luongo if Morty ever goes, but that's a guy who's commanding those around him. And I remember watching him when he first came into the team. He was the one being kind of looked after by like Chambers and everyone like that. So it's really good to see him sort of grow into a proper, dirty fucking centre back who's commanding his line. That's growth. That's development, and it's just a joy to see.
It really is. Right, on to Good Friday. Wycombe are in town. First of all, the referee for Friday is David Rock.
Okay.
He's had 28 games this year as a referee, 11 in League One. He's dished out 88 yellows, 5 reds, 4 penalty kicks.
Jesus Christ.
An average card of 3.28 a game. And he last did Ipswich when we beat Morecambe 4-0. Do you remember him that day, Ben? Because if you don't, it's a good sign, right?
No, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. What the 88 yellow cards in how many games?
According to SofaScore, this is where I got all the referee stats from. 28 games, 11 in League One, 88 yellows, 88 reds, 88 yellows, 5 reds, 4 penalties.
What's he refereeing? The Battle of bloody Ukraine? This is ridiculous. Okay, so it's okay. So we have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined, and that's another great thing that's crept into our game is the discipline. Particularly Morty. Obviously he's gone from a yellow card every 2 games to reining it in. But that's a lot about that's having the right partner. But so discipline will be a massive thing for us. So high stakes, keep it tight. Yeah, discipline. So this ref could fuck everything up, and we all know that in League One, I would still say that goal on the weekend should have stood for them. Yeah, that was never. It was a goal for me. If it was against Ipswich, I'd be screaming about that. So referees, it's the one thing we talk about. We talk about tactics, we talk about injuries, we talk about momentum and fans and all that sort of stuff. But referees, man, you want someone to go in and change a game. They're the ones who do it.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes,
Well,
absolutely. Yeah,
they
they can affect it, have a big say in it, absolutely. Mike says physically we're in a good position, and that is the difference. Phil says win the next 5. Wycombe, Cheltenham, Charlton, Port Vale, and Posh. End up on 93 points by the time we play Barnsley. Hashtag
no,
job done.
It won't be job done. I don't think so. You've got potentially 4 teams who are going to finish on more than 90 points if the permutations go that way. It's the first time it would have ever happened in League One, and it's going to happen this season. So last year, any other year but this, I agree with you, job done. But this year, the fucking 1 year we happened to do it, it's the anomaly. You know, there are other teams who are going to do it as well. So we just have to be. It is that sharpest of edges that will get us through. The best of the best of the best. Oh, it's the hair's breadth will get us through. It will come down to like goal difference. I guarantee it will come down to goal difference.
Yeah. Ian Davis, Wolf is a much improved player. To be fair to the lad, much improved.
Mm-hmm.
Sean says massive blip now, massive hike coming through it. Got this. Come on, you Blues. Paul P. Interesting to see how Plymouth react to their Wembley pasting. Mike says, to be fair, I don't think we had a so-called blip. We've lost 4 games all season. That's hardly a blip. You see, I'm in the camp, Ben. I would rather.
We did win for 11 games on the trot at one point.
Well, this is it. You see, right? I'm of the opinion I would rather draw 3 less games.
Sheffield, Jesus.
Win 2 of them, lose 1 of them. You know, or have more defeats but more wins. You could look at Plymouth, for example. They've barely drawn it. Well, they've drawn 8 games all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But they've got 2 more defeats than us. They're sitting 2 points ahead of us. It's all about points on the board, and you can say 4 defeats all year, hardly the blip. As you just said there, we had a huge spell for a long time that things weren't going well. But it was draws that were killing us. It was draws that were killing us.
Yep, 100%. And I think we were tinkering with the squad, and then we were conceding an unbelievable amount of goals. I mean, for me, I think I heard Cruncher talking about it the other week or something. Do you know what my worst case scenario is? The one that's going to haunt me is that by some permutation we don't go up. And what is the little period of what is the game I'm going to think of in that evening in bed? It's going to be the bloody what was it? Charlton. It'll be that last minute and a half, 2 minutes of Charlton. I swear to God, if that ends up being the thing that keeps us away, I do not think I'll get over it. It will be the cruelest and cruelest, and that's my nightmare scenario. That is.
I'm with you. Zurich says the Morecambe game he gave us 1 yellow, Morecambe 2 yellows out of 24 fouls committed. So bang on that sort of 3.28 card average card a game. Ian says maybe because we are now a decent side, we start to get the rub of the green. Never a foul for the Derby goal. Good to see us get a decision in our favour, which you absolutely agree with. I know that, but that's the league table as things sort of stand heading into the Easter weekend. That form, Ben, 7 wins from 7, 18 goals, 0 against, equal 34-year stat.
Who did Plymouth play on the weekend?
They played Bolton in the Papa John's, so that won't be on there. That's just league form.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. So yeah.
But to know how big this 7-game streak has been, to go back, you got to go back to 1953-54.
John Duncan? No, was it Duncan? Not Duncan.
It was Duncan. Scott
It
Duncan.
was Duncan. Yeah. That's right. And then I think when you get to 9, it was the
81-82 under Robson. Yeah, absolutely.
So we are making
Friday. You're making history, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Unbelievable. And do you know what? Of all the scenarios I saw the season coming to an end, I'll be honest with you, I did not see this happening. But that for me is Clark and Luongo, who for me have transformed a good team into a great team. Because I always say my cliche, give me players who make the ones next to him better. Clark, I think, has made Wes Burns better. The quality of passing, the fact that Clark's already halfway up the pitch, which is Burns has less to run, and Luongo has made Morsey just absolutely phenomenal. It allows Morsey to do what he does best, you know, which is probably a lot of the reason why he hasn't been fouling. It's not because he's suddenly found discipline. It's because the pressure's off. He's not having to play 2 positions at once. And I think we are just a different animal now. I never saw it coming, Gov. I'll be honest. I never saw it coming.
I like that. I like it when you say that. We're a different animal. I didn't see it coming. That means we're doing things we never used to do. Which is what we want to be doing.
As well. And
exactly. It's even more delightful to hear you say it.
That's a pretty good thing. So I'm ecstatic.
Mike Baker, a draw is not a loss. What's better, 3 points dropped or 1 point gain? Glass of empty. Okay, all right. But we've had 4 more draws than Plymouth. If you just had 2 wins, 2 defeats, Mike, that's 6 points. That's 2 points you've made up there. Oh, look, bang.
And it will come down. It will come down to a margin that close.
Like, sometimes you got to look. Mick McCarthy's no such thing as a bad point. On the face of it, is probably correct. But in reality, if you win more than you well, if you win when you draw, you're going to obviously be doing very well. But in this basic rudimentary maths, I understand you can't predict and you can't cherry pick like that. But those 4 games, had you just turned 2 into wins, 2 into defeats, you'd sit on 6 defeats, 8 draws, but you'd be looking at 2 more points. So I'm with you, Mike. But draws were our killer, not defeats. So we were still picking up points.
I agree with that.
Had we not been picking up points, just the one, the singular, God knows where we would have been in the playoff hunt.
It's if buts and maybes, you know. You get to talk to yourself for that on the last night of the season if we don't go up. Let's leave it for that possibility, but I try not to think about that.
Okay, so Wycombe sitting in 8th, 62 points, 2 outside the playoffs. They've won once in the last 5, 2 defeats, 2 draws. Their top goal scorer is Mehmeti with 9 goals. Top assists is McCleary with 8. This is not a Gareth Ainsworth team anymore, Ben. It is now a Matt Bloomfield team. 4-2-3-1's their favoured formation. That's the bare facts of the matter. It's Good Friday.
Okay,
it's a sellout crowd at home. Notoriously, we don't do well when we sell out Portman Road in big games.
Well, we don't. But notoriously, we don't do well towards the end of the season. But look what we're doing. So this maybe is a season of change. Who knows? I think that you look at how they played against Derby. It was a team that was absolutely chock full of confidence. Like, they actually went out there a bit arrogant, which I fucking loved. But they went out there and they enjoyed their football. They tried the harder things. They pressed their men. They pressed high. They were hungry. There was as much run in the 88th minute than there was in the 8th. That's a team where you're actually walking out there thinking, I'm the best, screw you, give me my points. And we've been missing that attitude, you know, with players. And I think people like Clark and Wingo and Morsey, that's the attitude they bring across. It's great. I mean, I'm almost at the point of saying, without blowing smoke up anyone's arse, that I kind of don't care who we play. The only game I'm worried about is Barnsley, because if we beat them and go up, then we deserve to. The rest of it, fine, bring them on, let's do it. But it's that one game. It's the one I keep when I drive in my car. It's the one I keep thinking forward to, thinking that will determine if we are good enough. And I guarantee you, it will come down to that game. 100%, it will come down to that game. You'll know by the end of that game what we're doing for the season.
Yeah, probably. But you got to get there first, right?
Like anything you want to achieve, yes, you have to get there first, and we are getting there. That's okay. It's okay.
You're confident heading to this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is. It's either the fact.
I don't know what it is either. I've seen you so confident.
I think it's because I've had a baby and I'm getting about 2 hours sleep a night. So most of my day is semi-psychosis. But so it's either a bit of that mixed with the fact that what I actually am seeing is really, really good. And every time I think, oh, this is the game when we go back to Ipswich, this is the game when we fall back 10, it doesn't happen. And that second goal, I listened to it was Steve Parry on the thing the other night. That second goal at Derby, I haven't screamed like that in a goal for months because it just meant something. It's like, holy shit, this is actually real. We are doing something that's different here. And that's my. I didn't even think about that scream, and I wondered where it came from. And I think it's a bit of faith or a bit of hope. So I'm really happy.
We've been doing this nearly 3 years. I've never once seen you like this, Ben. I don't quite know. what to make of it. I'm going to be honest. McSauceman, we need to drop more points than Barnes before that game. Anyway, we're ahead on goal difference.
Yeah. So we can have a loss and they can have a win, and the permutation is that we have a better goal difference, and the margin might be that fine. Look, if we get up on goal difference, fucking great. I don't care how we get up. However we get up is do it, but goal difference is worth a point, and it will be so tight. Those last two games, you talk about squeaky bum times. I think we're in for an absolute roller coaster. Those last few games, it will be all you can think about for a couple of weeks. I can't wait. I think what it is also, I don't think it's, we've had an upturn since Christmas, since sort of the end of January, and that's when Ellis was born. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, that maybe that's a bit of luck there. So if we get up to the Championship and I want to see Premier League football, then he's going to have to get pregnant again. Then, of course, we're not going to Europe. So by the time we're in Europe playing Juventus, I'm going to have bloody 3 children. So look, whatever it takes, honestly, whatever it takes.
Love that. Is Ellis going through the night yet? Is he sleeping through the night yet?
Yes, beautifully. Yep.
Good. It's great, isn't it?
10, wakes up at 6. It's great, it's easy, this father stuff. Give him a feed and a bit of love. Easy. Jesus Christ.
It's great. It really is. Paul, Peter, depends which Posh turns up on the day. They're either very good or very bad. No middle way. Sean, that's scary. I said Barnsley is the game.
It is the game.
Yeah. So 1 to 11. We're not going to do the whole 1 to 11. I've picked out 3 areas of the pitch where there could be a question mark. I want your thoughts, I want your feelings on it. Before I do, Ian Davis, great comment. Great goal difference, massive. Always was, always will be. Hence why sitting back at 1-0, McCarthy's Czar is such a false economy.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It really is. Right, left back. Leif Davis had an injury. Greg Lee coming against Derby.
Very good as well.
If Leif Davis is ready to go, if he's cleared, are you sticking with Greg, who came in and did really well, or are you putting your main man back in?
I'm sticking with the left back who's got the best statistics of any left back in English football for me,
which is Davis.
So there's no. Lee was brilliant when he came on. By the way, hats off. He's kept himself fit. He's brilliant. I love that guy. But for me, Davis is he's on another level. He's on a rocket ship to Mars. That boy. He'll be in England left back in 6 years. You watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I said as much after a couple of weeks of watching him. You're absolutely right. And you're right. Statistically, he's one of, if not the best fullback in English football. And I think you're right. If he's fit, you have to sort of go with him. It on the face of it would say, Greg Lee coming in did really well. But I'm sorry, that's his job as a squad player. You know your job. You are there to deputise
on that pitch without question. We are at the business end of the business end. You start with your best 11 and you don't fuck with it.
Yeah, and also as a squad player, you've got to understand you're there to deputise when the main man can't go.
100%. And you've
got to perform well. You don't get a chance to perform badly because you don't get that kind of games.
Yeah. Yeah. His reward for that is he gets to deputise again if Leaf gets substituted or injured. That's what your role is. Yeah. We're
not looking for a left back to deputise Leaf next year because you came in and played badly. You came in and played well. We know we can trust you. So that's the reward, isn't it? And that's a squad player, I'm afraid. That's the role, isn't it? That's
exactly that. Yeah. And fulfilled it very, very well. So hats off to Lee. But there's no question for me. This is the point of the season where you start with your best player.
If he's fit. Absolutely. But if he's not fit,
according to Josh Russell, he is fit. So, but then someone said it's a hamstring problem, Gov. Colin said so.
Colin, I don't know. I am not in the medical department of Ipswich Town Football Club. I'm in the podcast business. So if he's fit, we play him. I'm with you. If he ain't, Greg Lee, we know can do a good job. We've seen it. I'm comfortable and confident with him playing.
We're not playing Barnes on the weekend or fucking Burnley. We'll be fine before he starts. He'll be fine.
All right. Up front, George Hurst has got the nod last couple of weeks. Ladapo, though, however, obviously, Big Fred, give him his flowers. He has scored 14 goals in the league. Who do you go with?
I feel a bit. That's a real tough one. By current form, it's got to be Hurst, of course. But I feel a bit sorry for memory gone. Ladapo, because he's been so good, and I didn't. It's another thing I didn't see coming. The first sort of 7-8 games, I'm thinking, fucking hell. It's like John Stead, but ever so slightly slower and holds the ball up a bit better. But he has really done well. And he was on real momentum And then obviously Hurst came in, and credit to Kieran McKenna for seeing something, because he has given that goal he scored against Derby, where he kind of ran out, turned the keeper, that incredible kind of volley goal, the cross from Wes Burns the game before. These are top quality goals. In my heart of hearts, I love to see them both start, especially against Barnsley. But for me, again, don't mess with what works. And Hurst at the moment, I can justify putting Ladapo on, but I can't justify taking Hurst off. So Hurst.
Okay, yeah. McSorsman agrees, and it had to be starting Hurst at this point. He's got his good shooting boots on. Don't let him take them off.
Yeah.
That's it's I always say it's a strange position to be in, because you've got your striker on 14 goals. Now, normally, if I said in August, before I'd even kicked the ball, come April 5th, Ladapo would be on 14 and not playing. You'd have thought I was absolutely off my fucking trolley.
Sure.
Said, what?
Yeah.
But he isn't, because George Hurst has come in and has performed really well.
He really, really has. And as much as I love Janoi and as great a job as I think he does with Wes, Clark come in and he's better. So you go with what works. And you said your best player at the moment is Hurst.
And four already. So,
I know, on the trot as well. And
I do feel sorry for Fred.
So
I feel sorry.
100% I feel sorry for Fred. He's done nothing wrong at all. And he's not a squad player in the same way that Lee is for me, but as a striker, he is a starter for me. So it's just more of a tactical formation thing. But at the moment, Kieran's going on momentum. You can't take a striker off that scored 4 games in a row. And if you do, you got a lot of explaining to do. It fucks up.
Now, somebody else who took a robust challenge against Derby, Nathan Broadhead, who, by the way, happy birthday, Nathan Broadhead, the needle mover. I love that man.
He's great in Broadhead. He's great. What a player.
Just love him. Just love him.
We have bought so well, him and Clark. I mean, Jesus, you talk about improving a squad. He's just brilliant. I mean, how long have you got to, sing his praises?
Absolutely.
How long have you, brilliant. Just unquestionable. He's a championship player.
100%. Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, I absolutely love the man. I have not felt this much love for Ipswich Town player in such a short amount of time since DJ Campbell.
Oh, fuck DJ Campbell. He scored a handball for his first goal. No, go back.
Yeah, I've not been singing songs about people in the shower since DJ Campbell. DJ
Go
Campbell.
back. Who's a player that did the least amount of time but the most amount of impact? Who was the lone player we got? Not Sixto Peralta. It was beyond that. He was a really short guy. He was the Argentinian.
Under Evans, what lone player? I mean, that's just
centre forward. No, it might have even been under Sheepshire. He was a brilliant. Always said he was our best lone player in the past 20 years, and it was about probably 15 years ago, 18 years ago.
I couldn't.
That's going to haunt me for all night now. If I don't know.
Well, when you think of it, let us know. If you don't let us know in the next live.
Ben. Giovanni De Santos. That's it. Thank you, Ben. Well done. Yeah, so he's come in, and like Santos, he made an instant impact, and people love him. He's got he got called up to his squad. He scored an international goal. Again, you got a flying in confidence in a team that is flying in confidence. And again, since Wes Burns got his call up, last time he missed out, I think it affected him for a lot of games. But this time, you get an extra momentum as you're moving forward. That's rocket fuel. Love it.
It is. Ian Davis competition for plays at the moment. Brilliant stuff. Keeps everyone on their toes. Creates momentum. He also likes Broadhead because he works really hard. Hurst above TDA Blues. Hurst is a step above Ladapo.
Not sure yet. 4 or 5 games. Let's see that point in 4 or 5 games. He's got to do it a bit more for me, but he's very, very good.
Okay. All right. So if Broadhead's fit and can play, he plays. That we've obviously just miracle about him. So that's no question. But if he can't, who plays that left-hand side of the 10 for you? You've got Marcus Harness, Sean Aluko, Carl Edwards. Who plays it for you?
Harness, because he does no harm. He's good, but he's not as great as I thought he would be. Aluko, business end of the season, I don't think you're starting with him. And Edwards, McKenna doesn't trust him. So, Harness. Yeah,
I would love to see Carl Edwards get the nod because he's a great character.
Yeah, but Kieran doesn't trust him. There's a reason it's not starting.
Well, I think it's the reason not starting because he's Connor Chaplin and Carl, Nathan Broadhead ahead of him. But
there's a time to do magic things away from the game plan, but there's a time not to. When you start a game, you have to stick to the game plan. When you bring him on, you say, go off and do your magic, do whatever you want to. Great. But there's a reason he's not starting every week, because that is arguably our weakest point of the in our squad at the moment. Because apart from Broadhead, because Harness is not as good as I thought he might be. He's just not there for me.
I think you've got to split. I'm with you, but I think you've got to split Marcus Harness's season a little bit, because I think you've got to look at it before the injury he sustained in the Papa John's, and then after it. And I don't know, obviously, the full of rehabilitation. I don't know how quickly it fully takes to recover from anything, etc., etc. I know when you have back surgery, for example, they say it takes a full sort of year, 18 months for it to really leave your system. Now, it's very different, obviously, injury to what Marcus had. But I don't know. But before the injury, exciting player, really good. I disagree with you vehemently if you said that to me then. But now, they've not matched those two halves. They're a little bit different. First half of his campaign was great. Second half has been a little bit, So I'm with you there.
No, I agree, and it might be because of the injury, but regardless of the reason, I'm just calling it as I see it. And whether it's for the injury or form, again, you start with your best player. So I of the three, I mean, Colin said Edwards would skin Wycombe. Yeah, he's got the ability to skin anyone. The trouble is, most of the time, it doesn't happen, and he has those flashes of absolute world-class stuff. But then look at what he does when he doesn't have the ball at his feet. He doesn't stick in a position. He wanders. He's got other players covering that hole. He's a great player. If he has discipline and sticks to the game plan, as far as I can see it, I mean, there's a reason he's in League One and he's not in the first team. He's not as good as we think he is.
He's a very raw, talented player. I would choose him because I like his character.
Me too. He's a great bloke. I love the guy. Yeah, it's fantastic.
But you don't pick on liking a guy. So I'm with you. Marcus Harness.
Even before Broadhead, he wasn't even the starter then.
No, he wasn't. No.
So there's a reason for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So that's the sort of the three areas where maybe Zurex's Harness just seems to have no confidence. Runs when he needs to pass when he should run, missed two sitters.
I think that's a fair observation. Yeah.
TDA says City got your news bed. Broadhead's been different class. Stays fit. I don't think we will, and I certainly don't expect us to extend the deal like we did last year for a Luco. Great professional, great character. Just we're moving it. We're moving. Hopefully,
at the start of the season, yes, but the squad has moved on from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Ian, you've got the likes of Edwards, Harness, and Luca at the start 11. Tells you've got a top-notch squad. Absolutely right. That's that done. Don't forget, the game is on Friday. One last thing to do before we leave. There's no Friday show, obviously. Well, outside the post-game show.
What time is it on? You're not doing an outside pre-game?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool. 3 o'clock, is it?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm going on. If it's any earlier or any later, I'll be either very late or very early.
Is it 3 p.m? I've just got this funny feeling one of them, because Monday is not 3 p.m. I have a feeling.
Don't be moving the times on me, Ben. I've arranged my whole weekend based on 3 p.m. pissing kickoff. Don't be doing silly things to me. Right, hang on. Fixture list coming up. Hang on.
It's 3. Yeah, okay. It's 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's good. We're good.
Here we go. 3 p.m. Happy days. Oh, you had me worried then. I'm going. Oh, you had me worried. Breathe again. It's fine. Back in control. Right. Score prediction, please. Colin's gone 4-0 to the Town.
Colin, I will join you in that.
What?
Prediction. I will join you. I think
4-0 against Wycombe.
But no, because we are due to pace the team. We're just right for it. And if it's not going to be Wycombe, I don't really know where else it's coming from as the pressure increases. So I'm thinking it's going to be something quite wonderful. So yeah, I think it's going to be 4-0. It's going to have another sort of prediction here. So, Ellis, what do you think? Ipswich versus Wycombe, tough team, pressure's on.
Look at him.
2-1. 2-1.
2-1.
Where do you think we're going to concede the 1 goal from?
Oh, look at him.
So Ellis is going 2-1.
Oh,
I'm going
Ben.
4-0. This is what I think is going to happen.
Ben, your milkman's a good-looking fella.
I make good-looking children. What can I say?
He really is. Wow, look at him. He's beautiful.
He's long. This boy is long. That is a goalkeeper for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
A future goalkeeper. So, yes.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. Phil says 2-1 Town. He says 2-1 from Mark, 3-0 from the good doctor, 5-1 from Ben, who hopefully will be there with us. We're not quite sure. Ian says well past his bed, so I'm not sure if it means Ellis or you, Ben, but we'll go.
There is no bedtime. He's 12 weeks old. I wish.
Anytime he wants. 9 a.m., 12 midday, 3 a.m. Doesn't mean. He means me. Sorry, he means I am getting on.
How does it feel being the second and third best looking person on this podcast, Ellis? Look at Gabby switching Fred.
We ain't got a chance, Ben. Not a chance, buddy. Right, we're done. We are dusted. We have smashed it out of the park. We've got the youngest of our viewers there on the screen. Ben, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, the next time you join me, we may either be on the verge of promotion or being promoted or crying into our beers. But one of the three will be happening.
I agree. We'll be cheering, shouting, twisting, turning. Woo, woo, woo. Can't wait.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And if you want to support the platform, hit the join button on YouTube or head to Ko-Fi, sign yourself up. Keep my kid in nappies because I've got one of those as well. She's in there feeding, I think. But until next time, that is the Milktray Man. That is the wonderful Ellis. I am the Gov. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you Friday.